Organizational Change by Peter Floyd outlines 10 steps of making organizational change work. 1. Define who. 2. Define what and why. 3. Understanding the barriers, risks, and issues. 4. Identify all the levers, influences, power, and resources at your disposal. 5. Plan the campaign. 6. The how. 7. Launch the phases. 8. Define clear measures and put measure systems into place to track progress. 9. Sustain, institutionalize, and embed the changes. 10. Change is a journey, so end, review, and start again.
With this in mind, I shall outline my plan to show how I will use a digital and collaborative change initiative in my setting. I will profile the various stakeholders, define the stages, and outline my reflections on leadership based on my previous experiences. I have identified an area of need in my current organisation and have a vision to consciously guide an innovation and change through a style of transformational leadership that is inspirational. By being a role model, I hope to raise interest in the project, challenge followers to take greater ownership for their work. To be a successful leader, I hope to understand the strengths and weaknesses of those I am working with in order to match tasks and expectations so that they experience success and become leaders themselves. My digital and collaborative change initiative is using iMovie with a new entrant class to capture alphabet activities in action and link these with picture, sound and action links demonstrated by the children to enhance knowledge of alphabet skills, which can then be transferred to reading and writing. Every child has the ability to learn alphabet concepts quickly and efficiently if the right approach is used. Teachers will be able to quickly teach the children in a fun, active, memorable, effective way. Parents can support the simple approach easily and with enjoyment. Strong teaching of all aspects of the alphabet will lead to children developing secure alphabet knowledge. Secure knowledge of the alphabet code and concept is crucial in the process of learning to read and write. For children who find it difficult to learn for many reasons, the alphabet code is the key to unlocking the world of reading and writing. It was from personal experience over the last 20 years, from perseverance and experimentation when working with children of a very young age, children of different cultural backgrounds, children with English as an additional language. I developed this collaborative and digital innovation for learning alphabet concepts, as many children struggled to learn the basics of the alphabet code using traditional teaching methods. I explored phonics programs such as Letterland, Jolly Phonics, Smart Phonics, Code Breakers, and more recently Letters and Sounds. These all incorporated concepts of systematic phonics teaching which had resulted from recent research on the best ways for young children to learn letter concepts, and teacher development programs were widely available for those interested. Many of these were all considered best practice by schools I worked in overseas, and the expectation was to follow the phonics program elected by the school. I was able to complete many weekend workshops, including one on cued articulation, which has enhanced my belief that action and sound can enhance learning of alphabet concepts. This background research, personal classroom experiences and collaboration with other teachers help support my theory that the digital and collaborative innovation I would like to implement currently would meet the criteria required for a successful phonics innovation for young children who are 1. New to school, 2. Children who have English as an additional language, 3. Children that are identified as at risk and in need of accelerated programs. Previously, over the last 10 years, I have had opportunity to trial my change initiative in my various teaching roles in schools overseas. From this experience, I've had opportunity to lead my change initiative with a variety of user groups using a variety of leadership styles. The profiles of these initial groups were quite different from those in my current change initiative plan. However, these leadership experiences have given me insight and reflection opportunities which will influence the change initiative leadership styles as I plan forward. On returning to New Zealand, I am interested to see if the innovation that had worked successfully with my previous user groups would be equally as successful with the user groups at my current New Zealand Decile 3 school. My current plan is to implement the change innovation over 2 stages. The first stage will involve testing a prototype with my identified early adapters. My early adapters will be identified as a class group of new entrant children and their teacher. They all have started at the Decile 3 school in the few weeks prior to the 3rd term. This is a newly set up class with currently 12 children. The class has 7 boys and 5 girls. All of the children have entered the class on their 5th birthday. 3 of the children are English as a first language. 9 of the children English as an additional language. Languages spoken at home are Maori, Tongan, Samoan, Chinese, Indian and Arabic. 1 child is already receiving speech-language therapy twice a week and has identified behavioural issues. 4 of the children have siblings or relatives already enrolled in the school. All the children are inquisitive and eager to participate actively in engaging, fun, memorable activities. Other children will be joining the class, but the time and specific characteristics of new children joining the class is unknown and will need to be investigated as they join the cohort of existing children. It is unknown what the size of the class will be at the end of the year. No other teaching space is available in the school, so this class has the potential to expand until the end of the year. The class teacher is identified as an early adopter as she shows a willingness to take on new ideas, expanding and developing her repertoire of activities and teaching styles. She is also very motivated to be mentored as she is a beginning teacher who has completed her training last year and is now in her first ever teaching role. She is very willing to be supported confronted in the classroom with new ideas and innovations that will lead to successful learning opportunities. She has had limited experience with new entrant teaching, although she has said this is an age group she is excited about teaching. The classroom has limited resources at this stage and the environment is a work in progress. The children have also been working in the original new entrant class with another 25 students who started between January and May, so come and go between the classes up until now. Parents of the children in the class will also be included in this first phase as they are finding out about school and will be involved in the Mutakaroa project. They will be involved in one-on-one conferencing with the junior team leader on entry to school after 20 weeks and 40 weeks at school, and with the class teacher on an informal day-to-day basis, as well as more formalised meetings in the form of parent and child teacher conferences. In the second stage of implementation of the change innovation, I plan to influence other teachers within the department. This will be more of a leadership challenge. This group of 4 teachers all have 3 to 5+ years of teaching experience. 3 of the teachers speak English as an additional language, and there are 4 cultural groups represented: Chinese, Fijian, Indian and European New Zealand. These teachers have had little phonics professional development beyond initial teacher training. Most practices are based on their own personal learning experiences, previous school practices, and traditional practices such as singing and chanting to learn the alphabet. Some teachers use aspects of Jolly Phonics within their daily program on an as-needed or as if it fits basis. The teachers have limited access to working digital technology. Classroom resources are limited. The teachers are currently undergoing rigorous in-school training for an approach to learning to read and write strongly based on using whole text meaning and comprehension, which is taking for granted that children understand the basic concepts of alphabet when reading or writing. With the current workload, the teachers feel they have little time in a day to implement new ideas and receive added professional development. I am not a class teacher, but I work in the role of a reading recovery teacher and class release teacher. I am aware that I am new to the school this year and cannot expect teachers to change their practices, routines and resources without clear evidence that a change initiative will bring about positive results to children's learning activities. On profiling the parent user group more specifically, I decided to include them in the second stage of change implementation. Many of the parents speak another language and in some cases require translators. Many of the parents do not have daily contact with the class teacher as the children are dropped and collected by siblings or are in before and after school care programs. I have developed a good rapport and professional relationship with the junior team leader who has 20+ years experience, and she is open to me leading the change initiative with the identified first stage profile users, children and beginning teacher in the new entrant classroom. It has been put in action that I will be nominated tutor teacher for the beginning new entrant teacher. We have both acknowledged the intricacies of implementing this change initiative with the phase 2 user groups. During my previous overseas experience, I had opportunity to lead a similar change initiative. I worked with children and teachers in schools with very different profiles in the user group of my current plan. I was in the role of a class teacher and team leader and was able to lead the change with little resistance. The children were younger and all students came from high-income families who were generally exposed to rich language experience and opportunities by their parents. Many resources were available in classroom environment to support learning and a rich literacy environment was provided. Professional advice was also available in the school from speech therapists and occupational therapists. Although not aware of it at the time, on reflection, I was using Blanchard and Hershey's model of situational leadership theory during the stage of innovation while overseas. I was able to use a directing coaching approach. I was in a team leader position, and many of the teachers I worked alongside were new to teaching, having limited teaching experience or training, so were open to new ideas that were proven to be successful. As the years progressed using the innovation, I was able to use a supporting and eventually delegating leadership style as many of the teachers adopted the innovation as standard classroom practice. I was also teaching in a classroom as well as supporting a team of teachers, which enabled me to lead the innovation in a visionary, affiliative, democratic, pace-setting coaching style as outlined by Goleman's theory of 6 leadership styles. The style of leadership used for individuals and groups varied greatly over time, and with transient changes of teaching staff and growth as the school tripled in size and built a reputation as a leading school in the community. No formalisation of this change management was researched or intentionally planned. It evolved over time. On reflection, during this time, the leadership style would be described as transformational, as I identified a need for change, created a vision to guide the change through inspiration, and executed the change with the commitment of teachers in my team. More recently, another earlier trial of my innovation took place when I returned to New Zealand and took up role of a new entrant teacher from October to December 2014. At this time, I was very aware of my leadership role in the change initiative and was very keen to see the effects of my change management leadership with the profile group. This user group was identified as a cohort of 18 new entrant children aged 5 to 5.3 in a Decile 3 school. The children made very good learning steps using the innovation as a base resource. Children identified as at risk were able to make progress. My leadership style was transformational. I was able to use the 4 styles of situational leadership depending on the needs of the children. I was not in a position to take this innovation to another stage with fellow teachers due to the isolation of the teaching environment, located at the far end of the school in an old dental clinic due to the role growth, time restraints, and the role was of a temporary nature. However, supervising staff all commented on the effectiveness, participatory nature, and engagement of the children positively. Parents who helped in the class were very receptive to the innovation, as well as visiting teaching professionals who asked for copies of the resource in its simplest form of an alphabet chart to take back to the preschool setting. From February to July 2015, as a reading recovery teacher and class release teacher again, I was able to try a new user group. I had the opportunity in my school to work with a small cohort of 5 children aged 6 to 6.4 who had been identified for accelerated learning support. The response by the class teachers to the speed with which the children acquired and secured alphabet knowledge had been positive, and the teachers had been curious and interested in the innovation after seeing accelerated learning of these children. I had also the opportunity to just demonstrate components of the innovation in an ad hoc way within 5 to 7-year-old classrooms, and the teachers have shown interest. Data will be collected to evaluate the overall success of the Phase 1. The existing 12 students and subsequent students will be profiled using 6-year observation survey, specifically in regards to alphabet knowledge and concepts about print assessments. They will also be assessed on their language ability using record of oral language assessments. My opportunities for transformational leadership to manage the change initiative with the children will be very similar to all my previous experiences. The children have no preconceived ideas and are very quick to engage and take on the initiative, integrating it into their learning activities and applying it to other areas of learning. The engagement, motivation, and active participation in successful learning will transfer to the beginning class teacher also. Already I have used situation leadership theory directing style to demonstrate the basic concepts of the innovation to the beginning teacher. I plan to move to a coaching style, high directive and high supportive behaviour, then supportive style as time goes by. I will assess as I go on the amount of ongoing support needed for the teacher. The teacher has responded very positively to the introduction of the innovation with the children. She is also very aware of the need for children to learn from collaborative, active, engaging activities that are in context and relevant. She has already demonstrated the basic innovation to visiting preschool teachers who regularly visit the classroom with small groups of children at the transition stage of preschool to school. The preschool teachers expressed great interest in the innovation and asked for the basic resource so they could begin to implement it in their preschool setting. They expressed how they could see the benefits of the innovation for their children, citing that the innovation was fun, engaging, and active presentation. This also motivated the teacher as an early adopter that the innovation was well received by other educational professionals. I plan to harness this enthusiasm and positivity to engage the teachers in the second stage. One solo innovation cannot be the only factor that contributes to the development of alphabet knowledge. Many contributing factors are at play as children learn. Good teaching is, of course, a main contributor. Teachers' knowledge of who, what, why, where, and how they are teaching, and the reciprocal nature of language, reading, and writing is paramount. The benefits of adult-supported activities that scaffold new learning on existing learning, supporting language, learning, and helping children to transfer ideas from one situation to another are crucial. A balance of teacher-directed and child-initiated activities that are relevant to the child and offer opportunity to revisit and reapply concepts learnt are very important. Activities involving collaboration and technology are key to helping children develop and can accelerate their learning. Leaders and teachers who value and practice all of these factors is crucial, as this is the way that change management comes about. Assessment of what else needs to be done will be important for the change management process, and as stated by Peter Floyd, change is constant, and the ending of one thing signifies the beginning of something else.